Hey guys, it's Tom and Scott here from BadCuzDad, and today we want to talk about Lost Ark, the game that is breaking records on Steam and it's generating thousands of YouTube videos asking if it's pay to win. Well, we're going to talk about it. We hope you stick around and enjoy the discussion. All right, Scott, so Lost Ark. It's been around for a while in other regions, but always had a lot of hype over here. People were excited for it to get here. What I guess drew you to Lost Ark? Why were you interested in jumping in the game and seeing what it was about?
Well, first and foremost, what got me was the display of the animations of the classic. I
Mm.
just saw an ad for the game and was blown away by it. It looked amazing. Other than that, at first, it was that I had been needing a Diablo scratch for a while. I had an itch and it just hadn't been getting scratched. I tried a couple games on Steam that were top down. I think I tried Grim Dawn was one, and then I tried, man, what was it called? It was relatively new, but it was another top down, and just it didn't do it for me. But Lost Ark had the animations, it had familiar classes, and it had almost the exact same look and feel. Top of that, it boasted basically an MMO, so to speak. It was kind of the hybrid that drew me to it. I saw maybe I could get a little bit of that WoW itch at the same time, scratch, and then still get the Diablo as well. So it looked like a cool combo to try out, and it had great reviews, and I just figured, why not?
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of kind of good Diablo clones out there, but you're right. The interesting part is they were bringing it together with kind of a traditional MMO feel, dungeons, raids, leveling, progression. What class did you pick? Was there something that you were drawn to, or what did you think about the classes and character customization? I have my own issue with the
Yeah.
classes that I'll get into in a second, but what did you think of the classes and the customization?
Like I said, they all looked amazing. Every single class I saw, the showcase was incredible. It didn't look like anything was particularly underwhelming. It looked like they were all very well fleshed out, iconic to the class, and that in and of itself made the decision hard. I did end up picking Paladin mainly because Paladin is my favorite class in Diablo, and I love the aesthetic of fighting the demons as all like this holy warrior with light magic. It's really cool. So and it looks incredible in Lost Ark. So I just figured, hey, let's try this one out. It's flashy, looks fun, fits the kind of archetype I like in a game, and just went with it. And so far, it's been really cool. It's been a fun experience.
Yeah, speaking of the customization, the one thing I love is the beard options. I don't know if that was big for you,
Right?
but in a lot of games, the beard options are either non-existent or they don't look
They're just the
like they're not lumberjack enough. You know what I'm saying? I need like the lumberjack beard, and
They're
so
just not even beards. They're just like stuffed cotton balls on their face. It looks, yeah, the beards are on point here.
yes, thank you, Lost Ark. Finally,
Almost better than ours.
almost, yeah, but no, they're great. I appreciate that. Yeah, my only gripe so far is I do not play female characters in games. So, of course, the gender lock, it may not be a big deal to some, but that's kind of a big deal to me. I almost feel like it's walling off a part of the game that I might want access to because, to be honest, I looked at the assassin class and I was like, wow, this class looks super cool. And then I was like, oh, I can only be a female. And so I steered away from it. And I was like, man, this is kind of a bummer. I don't know. I don't think that's a deal really in Western MMOs that I can recall. And so I know that's maybe, you know, something more Eastern
Was in
MMOs.
it was in Diablo 2 initially.
Okay.
They were gender
Okay.
locked. Yeah, like it was just your
Hmm.
sorceress class was just a female.
Well, that's another thing we'll get to. I actually never played Diablo. I am probably one of only two people in the world who have never played it because, especially people who are WoW fans, of course, and Blizzard fans, all played Diablo. But I got into the MMO genre really late. So actually, Star Wars: The Old Republic was my very first MMO. I was always a console guy before that, and so I did miss out on a lot of that early WoW hype and the Blizzard train, because obviously back in the day, and to an extent today, but Blizzard made incredible games, right? They were industry leaders, and so I think if you played WoW, you probably played Diablo, right? Because you were a Blizzard fan, kind of a thing. But I'll go
Well,
more into
Diablo also it came out before. Wow, I mean,
right,
first
right,
Diablo was 96. I
90s,
mean,
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, we'll touch more on that because I have some more things to say. But to Lost Ark, what do you think about maybe the leveling? How's your leveling experience been? What is your current level? Is the story good? Are you enjoying it? What do you think?
So on the level first, I am max level. I just hit it yesterday.
Okay.
It's 50, but you are still able to progress. It's just that the XP slows down. It doesn't slow down. The amount of XP you need goes up exponentially. So you can, I think the cap is level 60, but that's going to take a very long time playing, and it's just more skill points, slightly more stats. And
So is
it kind of
50
comes
more
with that.
like a soft cap almost, or
I guess that's a good way to put it. It's like 50 is where the game really begins. You know,
okay, okay,
that's when you get to Endgame and the certain areas of PvP open up, raids, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But um, yeah, so the game starts at 50, I'd say. The leveling experience is obviously before that, and story's okay. It's not super appealing, and it just, you can tell that, most of their strength went into the game and the gameplay itself and the mechanics, and not so much the story. It's just there to give you a window into the world without making it the main point of everything.
okay. Yeah. So full disclosure, I'm only about level 20. I picked it up and I started playing, and the first thing I noticed is the story really didn't grip me at all. In fact, I was like, man, this is super boring. And after a little while, I found myself just skipping every, piece of story I could. And to be fair, we're kind of spoiled these days, right? Because if you go to like a SWTOR or a Guild Wars 2, everything is fully voice acted ESO. And so going back to reading text, I was like, man, it's just not, it wasn't appealing to me. And it was really a negative, and it made me not want to get into the story. And kind of the way I viewed it is I was actually a really huge Ark Age player back in the day, right? I loved Ark Age, loved the sandbox nature, the PvP, all of that. But the story kind of reminded me of Ark Age. The story was not the focus, right? The story was almost a tutorial to get you to max level. We'll take you through all the important features of the game, all the systems, and then, in game is really where it's going to start. And so I just found myself losing patience that I really wanted to be fun right away, but it wasn't for me. And I think the other big thing in why it wasn't is, like I said before, I wasn't a Diablo player. So I don't actually I don't get those mechanics. The top-down mechanics to me don't make sense because I've never played that, and it's not intuitive. So at the same time as me trying to figure out all the features and the story, I'm also kind of fighting with the mechanics, and so it's not great. But what about you? You've obviously were a long-time Diablo player. How's the combat for you? I'm sure you love it, right? It's probably great.
Yeah, the combat's the best part of the game. It's rewarding. It feels meaty. It looks great, and I think for a lot of players, including myself, it feels very similar to Diablo. So it's that familiarity and being able to kind of experience it in a different way, in a sort of different land. It's a very strange world, and that's why the story is kind of weird too. But yeah, to me, the combat is the best part, and I find it easy because it's familiar. It's just moving with your mouse and hotkeys.
I thought something that
It's
was
nothing ordinary.
interesting. I remember you mentioning to me when you were getting real in the game was about how the combat almost put you into like a zen state, right? It was just so fluid and
Yeah,
fun that you can almost forget everything and just be like, wow, this combat is so good. I could just do this all day regardless of what the story is, right?
yeah, yeah. And of course, as those games have most of the time, and we've both been MMO players, you're always chasing that new piece of gear. Every little drop is a dopamine rush. It feels good, it's exciting, and then now you go look at the more damage and mayhem and beautiful spells you can throw out, and it's this cycle of just being this easy to play at the same time, very very easy to pick up and play, and then it's just immersive in that way.
Yeah, the game that I kind of when I heard you say that, I was like, that's totally like a Warframe for me or something. You could strip everything away from Warframe, and I could just go do the combat and bullet jump all over the place for like hours, and kill stuff and see the animations and the melee. And so that's interesting. That's cool that I can see why a lot of Diablo fans that is appealing to them. Even though since I didn't play Diablo, it's not for me. I understand it, and I get that. What are you looking forward to at in game? Like, is there a goal for you, or are you just wanting to see a little bit of everything? Are you interested in dungeons? What are you PvP?
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Um, we're both casual players, so for me, I'm interested in just doing some chaos dungeons, which is just like the beginning stages of getting to end game. Just kind of doing some solo things, seeing the loot that comes, and then trying maybe the harder dungeons where you have to party with people, and then PvP too. I've never PvP'd in a top down like this, so I think it'd be interesting while still familiar arena based combat, just like WoW. So I'm definitely gonna try everything at some point. How hard I'm gonna go, I
Yeah.
don't know, but yeah, I definitely want to sample a little bit of it all and see what it has to offer.
Okay. Well, speaking of casual, you kind of hit on kind of my big two questions I wanted to talk about today. You said that we're both casual gamers, which we are. We have limited game time. And so obviously this game is breaking records on Steam with concurrent players. Tons of people are attracted to this game. I'm sure
Yeah,
across the spectrum, hardcore players and casual players. And it seems like there's just an absolute ton of content in this game. Like I said, it's been out for 2 years in other regions, so they've had a chance to develop content. Do you think this game is the best game for casual MMO players at the moment? Would you put that in that category or near the top?
if you just want to get in and run dungeons Diablo style, experience, just the mayhem and the animations, or just get into some PvP where you didn't have to worry about gear at all, then yeah, you can totally play it casually.
And I guess the other elephant in the room with this game, right, is you talked about progressing in PvE. It seems like a lot of the currencies to progress your PvE gear can be bought in the cash shop.
Yeah.
So, as a casual player, if your focus is just, hey, I'm going to jump in and run a few dungeons, is that even an issue to you? Are you going on YouTube and searching, is Lost Ark pay to win? Like, does that even enter your mind? Or are you just like, you know what? I'm going to make my own fun out of this game. I'm going to do the content I want. It
No.
doesn't affect me.
I did look at videos like that solely from a PvP perspective because I think pay to win really means that you're paying to be better than the other players that play the game. That work you put in, the time you put in it is irrelevant if you can spend enough money and have the most powerful gear when in combat with other players or competition, whatever you want to call it. From a PvE perspective of dungeon progressing and of the sorts, I don't I don't consider that pay to win because if I'm doing PvP, I'm progressing at my own rate. I don't feel competition to other players. And I know some people do. So for them they might see that as pay to win if they have goal to be the server first, or the first player to complete this dungeon. I could see how that would frustrate them. But from an in-game perspective, being, you know, from a perspective of playing against another player, fighting against them in like a competition, then sure, if you could pay for those items, I think it definitely breaches what I would consider as paying to win.
Okay, Scott, so kind of to wrap up the video, I wanted to ask, is Lost Ark going to keep a spot in your rotation? I know your game time is limited just like mine, and the games we choose to play are, they have to be really good to us to be able to warrant that time. And would you recommend it, if it is going to hold a spot in your rotation on Steam or wherever?
As far as recommendations go, if you miss Diablo, absolutely try it out. It's fun. It scratched that itch for me in a heartbeat, and brought back some good feelings and memories from playing Diablo. And the combat's great, and it's just a good time to sit down, go through content, and see if it's for you. If it's something you end up don't liking, I'm sure you'll at least enjoy playing through the story and getting your class stronger and seeing some content. It's still a good experience, and it's free, so you have nothing to lose. You can have some free fun, and if it's not for you, then it's not for you.
You're right. I think that's a big selling point, right? The game is free, totally free. You can jump in, have fun with your friends. Like you said, if you miss Diablo, it seems like it could be that perfect fit, especially if you're an MMO player, right? But we'll keep you guys updated on what our Lost Ark journey looks like and if we continue to play the game and how our thoughts may evolve going forward on it. But hey, we really appreciate you guys joining us again. Thanks for hanging out with us. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell if you want to be notified next time we drop another video. But anyway, we want to say thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.